Hello and good evening all. Due to finally starting a new job this week and time consequently being limited, I'm doing another video re-record and slight expansion to improve the voiceover quality and standardize content, this time of guide number 2, on the Mercedes W125. Hope you enjoy. A single-season barnstormer, the 1937 Mercedes-Benz W125 signaled a return to form for the German marque after a 1936 season so appalling that they withdrew from competition after the Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, sufficiently humbled into shifting focus to the development of a new car. This season also pushed Mercedes to take a new direction, with a clean sheet design under the leadership of Rudolf Uhlenhaut, a British-born German who studied as an engineer in Bavaria before joining Mercedes-Benz in 1931 to work on the 170V passenger saloon. In 1936, his skills earned him a directorship over the newly formed Rennabteilung, despite a lack of race engineering experience. He was nevertheless a skilled test driver in addition to his experience as a production engineer, and he put this expertise to use in determining the deficiencies of the 1936 W25 racer in determining the needs for a new design. Testing revealed excessive suspension stiffness and chassis softness, driven by misguided efforts at weight reduction that resulted in the shoehorning, or as my fiancée once delightfully called it in her definitely non-native English, shoe insertion spooning, a V12 into the car after their straight 8 proved unreliable following increases in its capacity in pursuit of greater power. These compromises became manifest during a test session at the Nürburgring in which the W25 lost a wheel without impacting Uhlenhaut's ability to continue driving the car. He is reported to state, "Es ist wie ein Motorradgespann fahren," or, "It's like driving a motorcycle and sidecar." For the 1937 season, then, a new vehicle was needed that remained compliant with the 750-kilogram weight limit that formed the sole formula limitation for Grand Prix cars of that season. They returned to the supercharged straight 8 design in lieu of the W25's V12, but decided upon a larger displacement, supercharged 5.6-liter dual overhead camshaft design. The Mercedes engineers outdid themselves with this engine, which they dubbed the M125. They were clever, but not too original with names, using a version of the proprietary alcohol-fuel blends shared amongst the racing vehicles of the Reich. The straight 8 produced over 630 pound-feet of torque and up to 640 horsepower, output figures that would be unequaled for decades in racing vehicles. Indeed, such power statistics remain compelling for high-performance road cars to the modern day, and exceed just about everything within the reach of the average modern driver, provided that they value their credit score more than their street cred. Indeed, the closest one can consistently get, for less than $20,000 or so, is, interestingly enough, another Mercedes vehicle, or series of Mercedes vehicles, any number of high-mileage V12 Mercs from the mid-2000s and early 2010s. This does bring with it a different set of issues entirely, equally as likely to damage one's creditworthiness. As we all know, there's nothing as expensive as a cheap Mercedes. I speak from experience, having owned 2 V8 and 1 V12 Mercedes in the past 10 years and having a collective 900,000 miles between them, but that's another matter entirely. Happily, in a modern 600-plus horsepower sports car, inexpensive or otherwise, there isn't an expectation to dress like a member of Jagdgeschwader 1 just to drive one. The engine sent its power to the rear wheels by way of an in-house developed 4-speed manual, constantly meshed but unsynchronized, with a new oval tube frame chassis that greatly improved stiffness over the W25, draped in aluminum body panels that covered all of the mechanicals and the driver's more vital bits. In addition to the more standard-style open-wheel body panels, a set of streamlined panels were prepared for running on cars participating in unscored races on high-speed tracks such as the Avus. These were frequently undertaken in pursuit of speed records and/or data on aerodynamics, which was just coming into vogue in automotive design in those days. Both sets of bodywork, in furtherance of a contemporaneous weight-saving, well, not yet tradition, but it was working its way up to that point, eschewed the typical lead-based white paint to save weight, leaving the silvery Duralume alloy panels exposed and gracing the racing public with another Silberfeel, Silver Arrow. To this day, Mercedes, and to a lesser extent Porsche and Audi, have continued to run their racing vehicles in silver liveries in furtherance of this tradition, despite the advent of carbon fiber monocoques, colored vinyl wraps that weigh essentially nothing, the removal of lead from paint, and all of those other modern gubbins. Drum brakes on all four wheels provided some semblance of stopping power, and all told it weighed in at, you guessed it, 750 kilos, or 1,653 pounds. With its race debut at that year's Tripoli Grand Prix, the new Mercs took home victory, with Hermann Lang standing atop the podium to give Stuttgart its first victory over Auto Union in a year. The non-championship round at the Avus was a bust, with the streamlined version of the car retiring after only 3 laps with a failed gearbox, and the standard body car coming a disappointing 5th after its promising debut. However, 1-2 finishes in the next 2 European Championship rounds brought the W125 and Mercedes back into the fight for glory. Caracciola won the round at the Nürburgring, followed by Manfred von Brauchitsch. I assume I'm pronouncing that right, probably not, while the Monaco Grand Prix saw the places reversed, with the Monaco podium completed by Christian Kautz in another W125. Caracciola held tight to the top step of the podium for the rest of the season, winning the Swiss and Italian GPs, with Hermann Lang returning to stand next to him in second place. Non-championship rounds saw a rash of second places, largely from Brauchitsch, as well as a win from Caracciola at Massarek in Italy, the latter in spite of a strong early challenge from the great Bert Rosemeyer in his Auto Union. The W125's dominance and ludicrous power output for the time led to rule changes in 1938, eliminating it from eligibility in competition. It was replaced by the W154 for Grand Prix races, but the W125 was further developed to pursue the land speed record, fitted with a larger engine and streamlined body to become the W125 Rekordwagen, which was never to achieve its ultimate purpose because some idiot had to invade Poland, possibly for its strategic reserves of shoe insertion spoons. Well, that brings us to the end of another video, and for this week's call to action not featuring the 3 sacred words of YouTube,
like, comment, subscribe.
Remember that we are but carbon molecules, given some semblance of sentience, and to the dust from which we came, so to it shall we return. Anyway, in spite of that arguable macabreness, thank you for your time this evening, or wherever and whenever you are watching, and I wish you all a good night and a good tomorrow.